All right, school principals and administrators, this is for you. This is going to save you a lot of money. Now, what I'm going to just talk about you being able to do your own risk and vulnerability assessment of your school, okay? When you do this and you start looking at your school a certain way, and the way I want you to do that is to look at it in the eyes and the mindset of a person who might plan to try to attack your school, okay? Whether it be like an active shooter type attack, or maybe somebody that just wants to get into the school for whatever reason, okay? So you want to look at your school with those eyes and that perspective, because then you're going to start seeing your vulnerabilities opening up. You're going to start seeing weak points within your security plan, okay? And and trust me, it helps out a lot, but it might be difficult, right? But you got to just, temporarily switch over and think like that. So what you want to do is you want to start from the outer perimeter of your school site. So like, how do you allow vehicles to come in and out of the school site during, drop off and pickup procedures? What are your drop off and pickup procedures? Like for pickup, do you have all your students released at once into an open parking lot? Do you screen the vehicles coming in? Do you have placards so you know who's coming in and out, right? Now, I don't, you might say, well, I know all the parents. Well, what happens if that teacher that knows all the parents is sick that day and you have a substitute there? They don't know all the parents. So you want to have a procedure in place to where you're screening those vehicles and make sure you know who's coming in there. Because if you do that mass release of students in one area and you have hundreds of students out there, that's a major vulnerability, especially if you don't know who's in there, who's in the cars, okay? And then what's your communication plan? Like, how do you talk when you're outside, during those procedures? And then if do you have recess outside, you know? And do you have gym class? If you're in a private school, maybe you don't have your own little field out there. Maybe you have to use the parking lot. So can you secure the parking lot? Can you stop, somebody driving into your school site in a car and then driving right into that area where everybody's doing a recess or gym class? Look at that. Can you secure it? There's ways to do it. And I'll probably talk to you later about that. So how do you get into the school? Do you have too many entry and exit points? All right. If you have, say, 15 ways people can come in and out, well, maybe limit that down to 2 or 3. And then the other doors, maybe look into getting them alarmed. You can do that. And then what's your process for locking all your interior doors, okay? Do you require your doors to be locked while students are inside? You should. And then, how do you move students back and forth? How do you position your teachers during, lunch and all that stuff? So look at all your procedures and see if you're doing it the right way, the safest way. And then look at your SOPs. So I hope this helps. I'm going to talk more about this kind of thing later on. So the next video, take care, stay safe.